Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi touch from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Pisces Premonitions era.
Settle down onto your
nothing to that one.
Settle down onto your favourite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and because this episode's a little bit more melancholy, deep, diving into the connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers. We are trying to keep season 4 spoilers out for anyone who is listening. We obviously did our season 4 bonus episode where we kept majority of that content too. So I will say that we will try our absolute darndest to not give anything that isn't given in the interviews. Interviews are fair game, but anything that was in episode 1, we will keep out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Dearest listeners, we watch Penelope grappling with losing Lady Whistledown. She chooses to give up her alter ego for the sake of societal norms and what is expected of women in the ton. We will analyze her talk with Madame Delacroix, the only person who sees Whistledown for what she is, a legacy and life's work, and a part of Penelope not easily trimmed out to fit a pattern.
Love that.
See what I did there? See what I did? The modiste.
You could have made a moment out of she chooses to give up her alter ego to be she gives up her alter ego to walk down the altar.
Yeah.
But I love that. To fit the trim into a pattern is fantastic. Pot snacks. Pot snackety snacks.
Okay, we're recording this in the same day as the last podcast, so my snacks are the same, although my queso's gone, but I still have chips if I so choose, and I still have about half a jar of stuffed olives, and I think it's ridiculous that they say a serving size is 2
like
olives. That's dumb.
2. That's crazy.
And it's 20 calories. I think a serving size should be a set number of calories. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody is making a meal out of 2 olives and going, oop, 20 calories. I'm good.
I'm done.
So yes, I'm finishing this jar off during the podcast, but that's okay. It'll be a lot of sodium, which ain't good, but I do need the good fats. I am
Greek. I thrive on salt. Like, it is part of my blood.
Well,
quite literally.
It's not super great for my lipedema problem.
Oh, I'm sure it's not good for mine either, but, you know, YOLO. It's tasty.
Like YOLO.
My mum is so funny. So yesterday I'm making spaghetti bowl and I salted the mince and she's like, "Excuse me, Missy, you give me crap all the time for under seasoning my spaghetti bowl and that I don't add enough salt to my food. That was hardly any salt." And I was like, actually, I've already seasoned the entire thing, but then I added an extra jar of tomatoes so that I'm re-seasoning it. And she was like, "Oh, okay, that makes," because she's like, "Who are you? What have you done with my daughter? Where is the salt?"
I like salt.
I'm
a shouldn't, but I do.
I'm a salty queen. Okay, what do we have?
I'm just salty.
Just salty. For pod news, even though we are just recording this literally 2 hours out from our last one, we do have a new promo that has dropped, which is covering Lady D specifically.
Mm-hmm.
We can't talk too much about, Lady D and the Queen, which I really enjoy. Lady D looks like a leprechaun. Like, it almost feels like they put her in the leprechaun outfit that Penelope was supposed to wear for the masquerade ball. But the Queen's outfit's phenomenal. I've never seen her in like this orangey, like we were literally just talking about Portia in like this orangey kind of outfit, and now it's the Queen. Like, it's quite a beautiful, it's a kind of like almost a bronzy orange.
Yeah, that was the same color as Portia's dress in the church.
Yes.
Bronzy orange, yeah.
But it looks, it's hard to tell sometimes. Like, it looks like it's blue, like the undertones of the dress, the below dress is blue with bronze embroidery, and then the dress itself is like I'm gonna say that's bronze over orange. Like, it's got
blue and bronze are
They are beautiful together and they complement Golda's skin tone to absolute perfection. Whereas I actually think that the green, because it's on Lady D, is like a, I don't want to say the words. How else do I describe that green?
I don't know.
It's baby poo green.
Why can I never find these on? I only ever see them.
It's on TikTok. The dress is like not it's like a olivey green-ish, but a slightly I don't know, but I'm not a big fan of it, and I think that it brings out the red undertones in her skin, whereas with Golda, this really highlights her undertones of her skin and really, really like it's a beautiful combination on her. I don't know what she's doing with her skincare this year, but it is phenomenal. Like her skin is looking better than mine, and I'm only 34. I'm like looking at the embroidery on that dress as well, and it's just honestly spectacular. She looks more youthful and more like a debutante. She keeps talking about this season how in the promos how like it's her and Lady D's time to kind of have fun together. And I do, I get the vibes that they're going to kill off King George this season.
I agree.
And kind of,
we've said it before.
yeah, like we've been saying this literally since season 3 dropped. Like I just feel like she feels so trapped.
Well, since
and
they
like,
said that they were going to keep her because the fans loved her, I felt like, well, if they're going to keep her, they're probably going to get rid of George.
Yeah. And I feel like the literal last 3 seasons plus Queen Charlotte has literally centered around how trapped and lonely she has felt her entire life, except for when her and George got those few years of good together before he completely lost himself. And ever since, she is just trapped in this role of the queen. And I wonder whether Penelope's storyline of now feeling trapped by her identity, that she is like unmasked as such. Like literally, so no, I can't talk. Okay, I feel like it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. I'm going to talk about it because it's not a spoiler.
Is it not a spoiler just because you want it to not be one?
No. Like I will, if you think that it is one, I will cut it out, but I don't think it is. At midnight, at the masquerade ball, the masks come off. That's just Cinderella. Like the masks come off at midnight. That's just how a masked ball works, right? So yeah, I feel like that mask coming off at midnight and everyone's like flocking Penelope was very much a metaphor for the queen as well. Like her mask has been off since the moment that she got married. Like she's in full light, and I think that she's done with being in the limelight and she wants to just be I'm just George. I think she just wants to be I'm just Charlotte.
Yeah.
Do you think that was too much of a spoiler, or is that okay? I think it's okay. I don't think that really gives.
I think it's okay. I think there's
away.
Enough in the trailers. There's enough out there in the trailers and everything that the masks come off at midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that her life is difficult. And we got to remember at the end of season 3, she acknowledged Lady Danbury was a true friend because Lady Danbury gave her the advice to continue with Whistledown. And so she truly understood that Lady Danbury isn't her friend just because she's the queen and she can be adjacent to power, but that she truly knows her and she is her friend. So I think we're going to see more of a friendship connection. She's going to be trying to be actual friends and not not
just tell her
lady.
Everything she wants to hear.
Yes. She now realizes that Danbury sees her as a real friend.
As a person. She sees her as a person, not just a queen.
As a person, not as royal. Right.
Yes.
So I think that she is, and that's why, like, we already talked about it in our recap. Danbury has plans and the queen said no, but that's because the queen now wants to cultivate this human being and human being friendship. And, like, sorry, Charlie, your plans can wait. I want to feel like a regular person.
Right. Are we ready to dive into today's episode? To make haste into today's episode?
Yes, let's make haste.
Let's make haste.
The haste
Daphne,
is ready to be made.
You must make haste. Speaking of someone who is making haste, Penelope is kind of leaning over her floorboards and looking between her engagement ring and her Lady Whistledown articles. And this is just like an absolute symbolic moment of, do I choose between Colin and Lady Whistledown? And I think that a lot of the conversations that she has had leading up into this point have been really weighing on this decision. She's literally had every single person in her life saying to her that she would be stupid to choose anything other than Colin. She's had Eloise saying that it's just gossip. This is a man that you are choosing. If you continue it, you forsake him and our family too, and your family. And then she's got her mother and that whole conversation of women don't have dreams, women have husbands. And she's like, but my dream has always been to have a husband. So is that not more important than the Lady Whistledown article?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna throw out like Pen, my girl. Somebody already found your stash. Why are you still stashing it in the same place?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all I want to know. Now, granted, everyone else in her family
And
doesn't
she's
give a
being
rip what's in her
noisy.
room.
She's being noisy about throwing those
Yes.
floorboards down. And I'm like, if I heard my sibling throwing down floorboards, I would be in that room
Like,
squeaking on
what's going
every
on in
single thing,
here?
like searching for the hidden spot.
But here's another little thing that I love too, because whenever we see Penelope in her room, she is either in her wallow period, which means she's dressed like a princess,
Mhm.
or she's in her muslin nightgown riding Whistledown, right? There's no in between.
This nightgown is,
This is a dressing robe. This is part of her trousseau. I've decided,
yes,
like, this has to be, we know her trousseau is being made, and the dressing gown was made first, and she's wearing it because she wants to feel like Mrs. Colin Bridgerton
she's trying to put
before
her,
the wedding.
she's trying to emulate, like, this is who I am to be. Now that I am her,
Yes.
she is me. I am it. I can
Mm-hmm.
give this up. And you can
Yes.
see that,
And when,
sorry.
sorry, when she's in her muslin, her hair's all like tied up and she's
Yeah.
wearing it down. Like, this is her imagination of what Mrs. Colin Bridgerton's going to be. And this is what gives her, I think, the ability to burn the Whistledowns, which it's like, way to be dramatic, girl.
But
Like, you can't just say, I'm not going to do this anymore. You have to burn them. Come on.
yes.
But and she's
Can I just talk about
horribly
that for a moment,
sad.
though? She has been doing this now for 3 years, right?
Right?
Two to
Where are
three,
the rest of
two
them?
to three. Where are the rest of them? 2 to 3 articles per week,
For 6 months, 6 to 7 months of the season. Yes.
6 to 7 months of the season. That there should be thousands under there. Your entire bedroom floor should be just one big Lady Whistledown
It should
article
have
at
been,
this
that should have been a
point.
rom-com moment where she stands there and she burns those, and then she goes and grabs some out from under her mattress, and then she goes and grabs some out of the wardrobe, and then she checks her desk. Like, they're
The
everywhere.
curtain lining, like unstitches it,
Yeah.
like pulls them out.
Pulls out a skirt, undoes the threads, goes into the inner part of the skirt, like where women used to hide jewels and money in their skirts. Like, she should have just pulled them from everywhere. It would have been funny.
Oh, honestly though, like, I mean, I know for, aesthetics and that, they
She
just put a couple
she
in,
must
but it
been
was,
she must have been coming from her Viking, she must have had Viking heritage, and she's like, well, I got to send these to a
oh,
fiery
wait,
death.
what is the spell? Oh, damn it. Harry Potter, where Hermione can fit like an entire camping setup in her purse.
Yeah. Or she could have Mary Poppins bag. Just keep
Yeah.
reaching in and reaching in.
You know what? I would actually vibe her as Mary Poppins so hard. I would absolutely live for
Oh,
her doing a
Nicola
Mary
Coughlan.
Poppins. Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
would
I
I
think
would
she would
live for
be a
that
great.
casting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins doesn't have to be Emily Blunt. It could be Nicola Coughlan. That would be
Yeah.
so.
I would love for that. Okay. So I feel like Penelope is kind of making this rash decision. She's taking Eloise's words to heart. And I feel like she is almost rushing it before she can change her mind. Like, no, I can do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to marry
Yeah.
Colin. Colin is my everything. And she's like, you
Yeah.
can see she's trying to convince
She
herself
had to
as
look
she
at her
does it.
ring. She had to wear the dressing gown that she's not supposed to wear till she's married, because it's
Yes.
part of the trousseau. Like, she had to armor herself up to be able to do it. But what breaks my heart about this scene so much is not that she is crying when she's doing it. It's the very next moment where we see Colin in his study
Yes.
writing.
But
His
I'm not
dream is
I'm not
being
done.
I know, but his dream is being born while
Yes, while
she is
Hazard's dying.
killing hers.
Yes.
And that just breaks my heart every time.
Especially with the words women don't have dreams. If we are lucky, sometimes our dreams can come to fruition through our husbands, but they are not our dreams to complete, essentially. And I feel like they gave us these two scenes together specifically because of Portia's words about how, like, if you're lucky, and it's like, well, if you're lucky, Colin can write and you can be his shadow writer, or you can be his editor, and that's about as close to a dream as you can get. That's as close to being anything as you can get, but you yourself cannot. And I do think that Penelope realized just how good married life with Colin could look from the church scene. And she at least hopes that that love and that life with him is going to be enough to sustain her. Because I feel like part of the reason, at least, that she started Lady Whistledown is because I think she truly believed in part that she would never marry down and settle and have a family, and especially not a love match with the only person who she ever truly wanted it with, and that was with Colin. And so she created
family, because this whole scene happens after she is so warmly received by
yes.
Violet as well. Like, she has this love of a mother, and she now has to worry about, what will this woman think of me? And I think that's why we have the line at the end that we do. Like, what will this woman think of me when she finds out that I've written all these things about her family over the years?
Yes. And so I feel like because she thought that she would never have a love that would sustain her, she created something that she loved that could sustain her.
Right.
And her happiness whilst being stuck with her mother for life. Like, she's like, I cannot survive my mother for life without something to keep me going. Like, this is her version of taking drugs to put up with her mom. But now she has Colin, and she's questioning whether she needs Lady Whistledown, knowing that Lady Whistledown could cost her Colin. Like, I can't be both. I think that she understands that she cannot be, well, not understands, because obviously she does end up being both, but like, I think she understands Eloise's concerns that she cannot be both, and that Colin hates Lady Whistledown so much that she has to choose. I do understand Eloise's point of view on that, but I think if Penelope had approached this very differently, it would not have been the thing that it was.
But that's a good point to make, that this part of the patriarchy is so ingrained in society at this point that even Eloise, who is the rebel, is saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can't be Mrs. Colin Bridgerton and Lady Whistledown. They both cannot coexist. For Eloise to spout that, as much as Portia or any of the older mamas, this is an ingrained part of society. There is no, even Eloise didn't think it was possible.
I feel like the season 1 Eloise naively would have believed that it was possible. Season 3 Eloise is a lot more jaded and has had the wrath of society on her, and and kind of almost put her back in her box of, you can't get out of the box, you belong in the box, we've made the box, either get in it or get out. You can't have both.
Right.
So I think that even though it wasn't the intended purpose, being outed by Lady Whistledown the way that she was really made her kind of confined back to the rules of society, because she has felt the repercussions of breaking them. Not even to the full extent, but to some extent.
Well, it's kind of like, running in a field, only you realize it's a cliff and you stop just shy of going over. You just manage to stop yourself, but you see what could have happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Eloise at the end of season 2. So I think that she stepped back and went back where it's safe and what she knows.
Almost as if you try to look at the air balloon and get a broken leg. Sounds Greg's. Okay, let's talk about Colin then, because as you said, the scene cuts from Penelope giving up her hopes and dreams for Colin to Colin realizing his hopes and dreams because of Penelope. So the scene cuts to Colin being in his pre-married bliss, finally finding the motivation or inspiration to make good progress on editing his travel book. And I love that it's because Penelope is his muse. Like, and I even believe that she was his muse when he was writing these. Like, she can't be with me on these travels, but I can write to her through them as if she were here, which is exactly what he was doing when he was writing those letters and when he didn't have her to write to or something. I think he still wrote to her. I think she just didn't respond.
He did at first, but she didn't respond.
Yes.
But he still wanted to take her with him, because essentially him writing her letters and her actually reading them and caring about them, like between season 1 and season 2, he realized he got to share his travels with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't solo. And so I think that he just graduated from letters to the journals because he wanted to still write. He wanted to still show her. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew, I mean, they'd always been friends. He knew that when he came home, he'd make it right. And he wanted to have something to eventually show her. Yes, in the moment, I don't think he thought his journals were as well written as his letters. And that's why he had some insecurity. And two, she always looked at his journals like they were going to be a book rather than it's like the letters he wrote me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she elevated it to something he never even thought about. And that gave him some insecurity.
Well,
but he's in this moment, like living his best life. Like he's going to make her proud. And that's the exact look I think he gives.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm going to make Penelope proud. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of had another realization while watching the scene is back from the Mondrick's club scene that he stated that he was so far into married bliss that he had writer's block, that like being in love was making him stupid. And it's like his writer's block was nothing at all to do with being in love and in loving bliss with Penelope. But I think it was actually because he was so distracted by constantly pondering what it was that she was keeping for him. Yes. And if it was going to end the bliss that he felt. So his love for Penelope truly is his motivation and muse for writing, because once he got past that, he was like, I need to do this. I need to make her proud. I need to be everything that she believes me to be. I will be everything she believes me to be, and is finally able to edit himself to where he wants to be.
And not that he's going to be everything she needs him to be, which I think he does get caught up in that, as we see when he finds out she's Whistledown.
Yeah.
But in this moment, she said, I've loved you since the day I met you, right? Yeah. And he's realizing this is through the whole Marina business. Mm-hmm. This is through, any stupid move he made, all these moves he thought were stupid, that, oh, why'd I do that? Like the whole, investing or potentially investing in Jack only to find out it was fraud. Like all of that, she had already loved him. She loved him just since she met him. That's got to be for who he is and not what he provides for her. Well, because he has to be useful to everyone else. I kind of
wonder whether he is looking at these journals now through new glasses of a new lens to say, hey, these were essentially a love letter to Penelope the entire time. And he is now looking back on his words that he wrote and realizing what it was he was writing, that she was in his mind the entire time.
Yes.
So that's why I also think that was the flip in him that made him, get rid of that writer's block and made everything move so fluidly for him from this point onwards.
Yeah, I think he's excited.
He's just happy little Colin.
Because she's melancholy, so
we can't have both of them happy at once.
She's losing a part of her. He's gaining a part of himself. Like he's gaining a part he never even saw was there.
Yes,
and it's sad to me.
It is sad.
That this is probably one of the best scene segues for me, like juxtapositions of scenes that has good storytelling with no word.
Yes.
No scripting, just these two actors making it work.
Yeah. And then we juxtapose. You got some pizzos with you today, and pizzos really helps my tummy calm down.
I'm thinking of like pizzazz. I got all the pizzos.
Pizzos sounds like some sort of medication you would take to fix reflux. I don't know why.
Right. It sounds like pizza, and pizza gives a lot of people reflux.
Probably. Will and Alice are planning an event, and this is such a throwaway scene that I really do not think needed to make the final cut, but not anything to do with because of the fact that it's the Mondricks. It just doesn't actually progress anyone's storyline. Oh, I mean, I know you talk about the Wallflower event, but we could see it was a Wallflower event from the actual event itself. I don't think that we needed a 30-second scene of Alice planning, Will coming and hugging her. It didn't progress the scene, the storyline at all, or any other storyline. So it was like Alice is finally getting into the swing.
Juxtaposition scene. Yes, that's exactly it though. This is another juxtaposition scene of Alice is coming into her own in the ton. Alice and Will are coming into their own. They're finding their place. And Penelope is trying to make the best of the place she's being put in because
Yes.
she believes she doesn't get to choose both.
And I mean, but that's the thing though, is you and I can find connections to anything and can find, oh, she's finding her place in society, and Penelope's trying to find her place within the marriage and society and where she fits in and rah, 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 rah. Will gave things up in order to be able to fit into
Yep.
society, and that's what Penelope's doing. But to be honest, there were so many other scenes that they could have put in this place that could have
Oh,
given
I
us that
agree.
story that were more impactful. And this is nothing to do with the fact that it's the Mondricks and oh, they shouldn't have had all these scenes, because I don't mind the Mondrick scenes when they make sense. But to
Well, and that's
me,
the thing with the editing of season 3. Like I said, I think that conversation between Lady D and Violet was extraneous. It was not necessary to further the plot. Francesca could have still been upset at the dance when Violet was not forthcoming with enthusiasm.
mhm,
She could have still said what she said without that
I
conversation,
said what I said.
without making it sound like the queen had any real say. And this again, like we could see Penelope with her mother, because when I look at the scene with Penelope with her mother and saying the same thing, like, let's have the best wedding Mayfair's ever seen, I don't see that as it is a juxtaposition to the Mondriches, but it's also Penelope is just basking in the attention of her mother. She is loving this. She's never had it before. And
Yeah.
you can see her just gazing up at her mother like, I can't believe this is my life right now, right?
Hmm.
Even my mom is so involved and she's wanting to be a part of this with me and whatever,
Yeah.
Like that scene could have been standalone. We didn't need the Mondrick scene. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially because it then goes over to the Portia and Penelope wedding planning scene. And I feel like they could have either added more to, like, yeah, I mean, there was just, and this is a lot of people's problem with season 3, is that there are so many side stories that it retracts away from the main storyline and our main characters. Luke Newton got way too a fewer talking scenes and screen time this season, where that's where we really wanted our attention to be. You want to know, hey, this is the main couple of the season, and the season they kind of they missed
Yeah.
the mark with that one because they had so many scenes that weren't
We're
impactful.
extraneous.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the scenes where Will and Alice are like coming to terms with fitting into the ton, like before getting ready for bed, like those ones make sense with the storyline, but this one just
Yeah.
wasn't necessary to me.
We could see that Lady Danbury suggests they host an event, and then we see their event and we see how amazing it is. We didn't need to see the prep work for it.
Yeah.
We didn't need, although this is the very first time I think in any season where visible preparation was made in the expectation that the queen may arrive. And they
Yes.
went all out. She had her own dais and everything. And when the queen actually does show up, it's a big deal. But that part, maybe. But they could have done that
Well,
as a quick aside. Like they could have
thinking
just shown her prepping stuff
thinking
and
through,
shown her really focusing on getting that right. But
does
that's it. We didn't
does
need the
the
whole.
does the queen attend any events that aren't weddings apart from Lady D's in the 3 seasons?
Yeah,
Does
the
she?
final, the Featherington ball.
Yes, but that was because Lady Whistledown wrote to her.
No, no, no.
Oh,
At the
okay, at season 2.
yeah, she was
Okay, yeah, yeah.
there. She showed up, and that's when Anthony and Kate were dancing.
Oh, actually, no, she does attend more because obviously we have Daphne being chosen. Sorry, not Daphne.
Edwina got
Francesca.
chosen.
Francesca gets chosen, and yeah, no,
Yeah,
she
but that
does.
was
She does
season
attend
3.
more, but
She
her.
attends almost every ball in season 3, though. Almost every
Yes.
single one. I think the only one she didn't attend was the Stowell house. And that's because the Stowells, like, this is their first daughter in society, I'm assuming, or their only daughter, right?
Yes, only.
So, yeah. So she's not as familiar with them.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
all.
Let's talk about Portia and Penelope planning. Portia and Penelope plan a
Oh, and I think we have a
party.
season 4 hint here because the Featheringtons decide not to use their Featherington green napkins and go with silver. And
Yes.
looking back, I think that's a
Well, because yeah, they're talking Well, I think not just a hint, but I think it's like Portia's entire demeanor has completely flipped with her daughter. Instead of kind of barreling in and deciding that she knows what is best all the time. I want this. I want that. I want garish colors. I want it to look like how I think it should look like. But instead, she is actually giving out options and
Yeah.
asking Penelope for her feedback. Oh, I think this. What do you think? What would you like? And this is a really, really far cry from the Portia that we
Well,
have
she
seen for
didn't say,
three
what would
seasons.
you like? She
No, but
says, seems more whatever, don't you
yes,
think?
don't you think? Like, she's actually genuinely considering what would suit her daughter going into this new
Yeah.
life rather than
Well, I'm just
just,
saying this is a small nod to season 4. Like we have tidbits, Easter
yes,
eggs that tell us
yes.
who season 4 was going to be. I think
Yeah,
this was
I can agree with that. But I also think that it's such a big scene for Portia actually showing
love
change,
and care.
love
And
and
yeah,
care. And it seems genuine. It's not,
it's
I'm
not
planning,
forced anymore. I
no.
think from the church forward, she no longer is aligning to align with the Bridgertons for her own protection. I think she sees that
So
Penelope is loved and in a love match, and this is real.
you know the science behind smiling, that fake it till you make it. Like if you smile, if you force a smile, your brain still releases the same chemical to tell you that you're happy. And not that it's like smiling will just make you a happy person. Like that's just not the way that it works. But I feel like Portia's fake it till you make it kind of flip in
Yeah.
her personality. She's like, I actually feel lighter. Like choosing to be kind to my
Yes.
daughters, choosing to foster not comradeship, but like just a healthier kind of vibe in our household is actually lightening me. It's making me feel better. Like I think that she has realized that maybe the way that she has been doing things hasn't been working. She needed to try something different. She tried it. It felt good. And I think that this is, I mean, she's never going to stop being Portia. She is always going to be Portia. But like, I
Yeah.
actually really loved the scene for like, I expected Portia to go in and still try to like, oh, what do you think, Penelope? But still try to push. I want green. I want gold. These are our colors. You need to represent us. You are the representation of our family. You need to show what a proud family that we are standing by ourselves and our colors and our family name. And just because you're a Bridgerton now doesn't mean that you're not all still a feathering. Like old Portia would have still used any way to kind of propel herself forward.
Old Portia wouldn't have said all those words though. She'd have been like, green
She
napkins.
would have
That's
just
what we
decided
got.
it. It would have just been,
Yeah.
hi Penelope, I chose these, deal with it, you know?
Yep, we're
So
done.
yeah. Um, and I think that this treatment from Portia also makes Penelope happy and makes her feel like she has made the right choice in giving up Lady Whistledown because she has now got the man of her dreams. She finally has a mother who's seeing her and treating her the way that she never even dreamed that Portia could treat her. Like, I don't think that she thought in a million years that she would ever get to a point where her mum was treating her like a daughter and like a debutante. Like
Right.
this is what she saw a lot of other debutantes getting to go through. Like she watched Violet dealing
Daphne.
with
Yep.
Daphne and preparing for their wedding and how much of a happy time it was. Like, yes, it was stressful because it was rushed, but like it was also a really bonding moment for Daphne and Violet to do this thing together. And that's what mothers and daughters and debutantes should do. And she's like, this is what it feels like to actually be a debutante and not just be looked past for the whole rest of my life. I've just been overlooked. And it's not that she wants the attention on her. It's just that it's nice to have attention that's not laced with acid.
Yes. But I also think that these little snippets of good attention are what led her to unmasking herself as Whistledown. And she was not expecting it to become what it was. Like, I
Feeling
think
like
she
she
thought she
actually
could
has a support
handle it.
circle.
Yeah, I think she thought she could handle it because, oh, my mom sees me now and I'm doing okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bridgertons see me, like people are starting to see me. I was able to walk down that wedding aisle with all the eyes on me, like, I can do this. I can do this. And she does it and it's great. And then it's not so great. Then
Well,
it's too much.
I think she's only ever found notoriety in being Lady Whistledown. As Penelope, she
Yeah.
has never ever once felt seen. And now she's stepped away from Lady Whistledown and she's finally being seen. And she's like, well, maybe I can give this up. Maybe I can just be Penelope, just George, just Charlotte, just Penelope. Maybe this is enough. But as with the crown, heavy is the head that wears the crown. You
With
can't
great
just,
power comes great
yeah,
responsibility.
you can take the crown off, but it doesn't make you not a queen, you know? Like you
Yeah.
will never ever take away Lady Whistledown. And I think that it's also after the church scene and after the conversation and finally being honest with Colin about her feelings this whole time, I feel like that's also a big weight off her shoulder. Like she was kind of hiding this big secret from him because as you and I know, when you love big and you tell people that you love big, it's kind of scary because not
Yeah.
everyone accepts big feelings. And I think a lot of people underestimate. We were talking about Francesca last season about how she feels big. I think Penelope feels so big and she has been so used to downplaying it. Like, it was just a crush. I didn't love him. Not at first. It just bloomed into that. You know, I think she's so used to downplaying her feelings all the time.
Yeah.
And this was a moment where she actually got to feel them and them be celebrated.
Yes. And to see somebody be so
Overjoyed at them.
happy, like be so happy with them and to be able to, I mean, he couldn't hold it. He had to dance with her, right? Like
Mhm.
that's a stem kind of movement. Like I'm so happy now I got to do with that.
Our little
Um
happy feet.
yeah. So, I mean, do I understand the stem when I'm excited about something? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I have my things I do. So I get it, but yeah, somebody was able to hold that and she's giving a little to other people and she's seeing they're able to hold that and they're able to see her and love her as she is. So she's thinking she doesn't need Whistledown, not realizing that. And I truly don't think she does need Whistledown. I think Penelope's great in and of herself. I think she loves Whistledown because she loves the writing. And
Well,
I think that's going to
that
be her arc
it's a
in season 4. It's like, it's not Whistledown, it's the writing. I love.
yes, and I think that segues beautifully into the scene cutting over to Penelope and Madame Delacroix because this is these two scenes go together, and that's the annoying part that we had the Mondricks in the middle of it because it kind of broke up these three very pivotal scenes that went together. So Penelope arrives at Madame Delacroix's, not quite for a fitting, but to pick up bits and bobs for her wedding dress. And for starters, I think it is entirely implausible that Portia would miss a wedding dress fitting because this is the sort of stuff that Portia feeds on. And I know that we just talked about how Portia is changing, but as I said, she is still Portia. Do I need to pause?
No.
Okay.
I'm still trying to see that Lady Danbury and the thing where I can the volume.
Like Portia is still Portia, and the feeling of importance of my daughter's marrying a Bridgerton. We're here for her dress fitting. It would be used as another opportunity to brag for her, but this time she'd be bragging proudly, like, "Look at my daughter! Look at my daughter!" Like, and she would make it out to be as if it was I'm lifting up my daughter kind of a moment, but it would also be a look at me, I'm the mother of the bride, I'm important here too. This is my wedding too.
I think Penn completely managed her mama here though and said, I'm not going to go pick it out. I'm going to go get samples and bring them home just so she could have a
Well,
moment to talk to
he said, my mother
Genevieve.
has sent me for samples.
Right. But I think, because every other girl has gone to the Modis to get fitted and get her,
Yes.
To choose there.
But
I think Penelope said, like, managed her mama and said, no, let me go get samples and I'll bring them home so she could talk to Genevieve.
I just don't believe for 1 second that, like, and to be fair, like, in today's era, going and picking out a wedding dress is typically something that you do with your mother. And even though they're not picking out a wedding dress, they're picking out the bits and bobs that will create the wedding dress, which is kind of funny because the samples that she puts on her aren't anything that ends up in the wedding dress. I don't think it didn't look peachy enough. The
No, and it was very soft material where her material was more of a stiffer satin, I think.
Yes. So I don't know. I just think that this was kind of like they should, and this is the part that they could have added the scene. Oh no, mama, I will go on my own. I'm just popping in like it's not a thing. But instead they chose to have.
Or she showed up to talk to her and there were people in the shop. So she made something up to be able to have a conversation.
Yes, they could have made a whole thing, but instead said they chose to use that scene to show that the Mondricks were hosting a party. Like there was, for me, Portia would never miss out on any of these moments because this is something that she thrives on. This is her last daughter to get married. And this is her only daughter to get married.
Marina.
Exactly.
She even took Marina, and Marina wasn't even hers, and she knew why Marina was getting married, and she made a big deal about going to fit her for her trousseau and everything.
And this is her last daughter that she is going to get to thrive on this. And like, I mean, to be fair, as parents, like you want to be there for the big moments of their lives. And like, as a mum, I'm not a mum to a daughter, but like I've been a daughter with my mum at my wedding dress fittings, and like I've been there with one of my best friends who got married, and like her mum went to all the making of the dress fitting situations, you know, because it's one of those like rite of passage bonding moments in my eyes.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. That's why there's not a scene there, and this is why like people with imaginations usually fill in the blank when something's missing, and it does not make sense to the characters or the story that Portia would not be at the Modiste with Penelope doing dress fitting anything for a wedding.
Other than to feed the storyline that they needed to have a private conversation that they couldn't have if Portia was there, but that's still doesn't fit the characters, you know. But I want to talk about Penelope being a bad friend here, because I think at this point that Madame Delacroix and Penelope are bordering on friendship, at the very, very least, a partnership of sorts, but teetering on a friendship. And this is kind of the part where we realize that Madame Delacroix learnt through the Lady Whistledown article about the engagement. And so and basically she is saying without saying, I know that you've stopped writing Lady Whistledown, and this is how I hear about it. Like, I didn't hear it from your own mouth for 3 weeks. Like, it has been what? But we presume. This is even after the church scene, let's say like 2 days past the church scene. This is 3 to 4 weeks after they've been engaged. That Penelope could not
I'm
toddle
say
her
like a couple of weeks at the...
Well, because they got engaged.
A week
they
later
had the engagement party.
The engagement party. A week later, probably after that, is
reading of the banns.
So this is during that week. So yeah, almost probably.
Yeah. And then this is after the reading of the banns, obviously. So like, yeah.
Not all of them, because the dress is being made during that. Just the first.
No. The reading of the band, but yeah, the church scene. After the church scene. Yes. Yeah. So
they would have the dress made during this period of time.
Like
the reading of the banns happened. Nobody dissented. Yes. So they felt like they could make the dress at that point. Yeah.
But let's be real here. I understand, Penelope, that you have little legs. So it does feel like quite the hike to take those little legs all the way down to the Modiste. But you're telling me that for potentially 3 weeks that you could not toddle yourself past the shop to say, hey, business partner, that it's also relying partly on our business deal to have good standing in society. I'm not even going to inform you that our business arrangement has ended until 3 weeks after the fact, in which point you've already basically figured it out, but are just living in hope that it's not true. Like, it just seemed like a poor choice. And I do understand that it was a huge decision for her whether or not she was going to give up Lady Whistledown. She was grappling with that. So I don't think she went to Madame Delacroix until she had made a final choice. But
so let's think this. So she gets engaged. Mm-hmm. Life goes on. They have a scene where who is Penelope going to go to on the night before her wedding, because there's nobody to do that like bachelorette ritual with. So storytelling wise, her only real friend right now is Genevieve.
Oh, how would it
have looked if she would have gone and sought out Genevieve without having gone and talked to her about Whistledown? I think this was an afterthought scene written in to bridge the gap. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think they forgot about their business arrangement.
Women did not start having bachelorette parties until the 1960s.
All right, because it was always men having the stag party.
Well, now I'm reading.
The women in the family, though, still got together, but Penelope is not close with her family. Her and Eloise are on the out, and she is seeking somebody that can be a confidant because she needs to talk things out. And I think they wrote that scene and they're like, wait a minute, Penelope never even informed Genevieve that she wasn't going to be Whistledown, that, you know what I mean?
Apparently, bachelor parties, as a concept celebrating a groom's last days of freedom, date back to ancient Sparta, 5th century BCE, with formal dinners, but the specific term bachelor party appeared much later in 1922 in a Scottish journal.
Yeah, they used to be called stag parties.
With a modern racist versions emerging in the 20th century. Early forms focused on military camaraderie, evolving from Spartan feasts to Victorian men's outings, stag parties. It's probably called a stag party because they probably went on a stag hunt for it.
And went hunting. Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that they might have written that scene and then they sat there thinking, well, Genevieve would be mad at her because part of her business arrangement's gone. You know what I mean? Like, so they had to bridge that gap so that she could come to her and they could just have a friendly conversation to fit a certain time, I guess. Because that's what happens with writing. You write a story and you're like, wait, this doesn't make sense.
The stag imagery connects to the Celtic pagan symbols like the horned god Serenos, representing fertility and wildness, linking to the idea of a groom's final foray into the single life before marriage. Gross.
Yeah, so why don't men have always acted like entering marriage was a bad thing, but they try and tell women it.
And the stag traditionally refers to a male deer known for its strength, independence, and status in the animal kingdom. Over time, the stag becomes a symbol of masculinity, particularly within British and European cultures. It makes sense that a stag do, often an all-male event, would borrow from this imagery representing male camaraderie and the groom's final nights of freedom before marriage. I honestly hate all the terminology. And yet a woman's is very much a celebration of marriage. Isn't it funny how different it is?
I don't think modern bachelorette parties are a celebration of marriage. I think it's the very same thing, the last night of, and I think that's a part of what has led to the downfall of a long-term marriage, because when both people go into it thinking I was free before I got married and marriage is not freedom, that there's no way to have freedom in a marriage, then you're already starting off on a wrong foot, on a negative connotation. So like, I mean, would I have a bachelorette party? Yes. Would I have the traditional, like, go out, get trashed, find male exotic dancers? No. No, I would just, honestly, if I was going to have a bachelorette party, I'd invite all my girlfriends. I'd have pajamas and maybe wine, whatever beverage of choice, order a pizza, watch rom-coms. That would be mine. I want to see Happily Ever After.
I rented out a cabin not in the woods, but like a cabin in a little town called Hamner Springs, which is the hot springs town that I tell you about. And there was, I think, 15 of us, maybe. I can't remember exactly. There was a bunch of my girlfriends, and my mum and auntie all came along, and we all went down there and we spent the day drinking wine, going and sitting in hot pools, went out for a nice dinner together. Did we have wine? A lot of it, yes, but like it was very female centered.
Yes.
Celebration
I would want
of marriage.
I wouldn't want it to feel like my last night of freedom. I would want it to feel like, because when you get married and you are partnering with
the right
someone,
person.
Yeah. Like when you're partnering with someone, your life changes. And I would want to relive a night from my childhood. Like I said, have a sleepover with my friends and pajamas and, you know, putting on the old hits we used to dance to in our living room or at the school dance, and just be young, be kids, because getting married feels very grown up and mature. And I'm saying this when I'm almost 50, but you know what I mean? Like marriage is a sign
which is
of
why we all dressed
adulthood.
up like princesses. For reference, I don't know if I've told you. Do you know which princess I was?
You? I don't know. Dark hair, I'd say you might go Belle.
Think closer to my name's origin.
Your name's Natasha?
Closer to that region of the world. Yellow dress.
Belle was the yellow dress.
Not a common princess, but the best one. Little sassy pants. No, she is common. Like, she's common, but like
I don't.
Anastasia.
Anastasia is not a.
It got bought by Disney, therefore she is a Disney princess.
It was not when it was made, when I rember it. So I was
matter.
not thinking that. I'm just not thinking along those lines.
One of my best friends came as Princess Leia. She's like, Star Wars had just been brought out by Disney, and I was like, it counts.
Well, technically, somebody can go as Frankenfurter if we're going with those rules. Frankenfurter is a Disney princess.
Anything goes, yeah, so going back to that was so far from the tangents, soz about it, but I do quite feel bad for Madame Delacroix because she was a partner of Lady Whistledown of sorts, and this does affect her business too. And Penelope had multiple weeks to contact her about it, since her last article slash at this point she's stating final article had come out. So, but
like I said, I think this was an add-in scene that they needed to bridge the gap because as they wrote out the season, they're like, wait a minute, if Penelope showed up on the night before her wedding to see Genevieve, Genevieve would not be a welcoming, calming friend. She'd be mad as hell.
Let's be real. Like, I do know that Penelope had a whole bunch of, yes, it is 3 p.m. Yes, I do know that Penelope had a whole bunch of new dresses made up at the start of the season, but do you not think that Penelope would have had a new dress made up specifically for the engagement party?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, they could have done the scene then, in which case this conversation would have made a lot more sense than...
because she would have gone for her engagement party dress by herself because she'd been going and dressing, going to the Modis for her own stuff this whole season.
Yes.
Wedding dress doesn't make sense. Agreed.
Yes. So I just think that conversation should have occurred, and it could have been not, I am giving up Lady Whistledown, but I'm considering giving up Lady Whistledown, and her getting the piece of advice from someone who is actually a self-made woman. But
Madame Delacroix would have given the exact same advice.
Yes. And regardless...
Well, I mean, she wouldn't have been able to use the wedding dress.
Yes.
I mean, could. But...
Yeah. But, like, regardless, Madame D congratulates Penelope on her engagement to Colin, and you can tell it is a genuine congratulations as opposed to the rest of the people of the ton, and not that she is part of the ton, but you can tell that she is happy for Penelope that she found someone who, I mean, she's been around the Bridgertons enough to know that they are a good family, and I think that she probably suspected at the very least Penelope's feelings for Colin, given the fact that he'd just been traveling around Paris, and she says, I want to look like one of the Paris women. I think Madame Delacroix is incredibly savvy, and I think she could have put 2 and 2 together.
I'm sure she did.
So Madame Delacroix is very tactful when she tries to ask Penelope if she is going to tell Colin that she is Lady Whistledown and if she will continue to write. Like, you can tell that she is nervous of the response because she knows in her heart exactly what is coming, but she is trying
she's not trying to ask if she's going to tell Colin. She is assuming she won't tell Colin. She is like, you're gonna still be Whistledown, right? You're gonna sneak out, right?
But she's being tactful about it. She's asking the questions without asking the questions, and I cannot believe that these words actually came out of Penelope's mouth, that she is going to allow Cressida to take, I don't even know how to say the words, like ownership, accountability, like to take your life's work, everything that she's built, the honor that goes along with it. Not that Penelope does it for the honor, but she does it for the honor of, this is something that I've created. This is the words I've put together. This is an empire I've put together.
But as somebody who is in general a people pleaser, to keep people, because she has not experienced a lot of love. Yes. And Eloise, that conversation with Eloise in the bedroom felt like it was maybe a bridge to the other side, that she's giving Eloise what she wants.
We can get past it if you give up Lady Whistledown. Yeah. But
yeah.
You know, a thought that came to my mind during this, she could have very well let Cressida take accountability for Lady Whistledown and still continue to write it.
For real. But like, then that didn't even find out.
But that didn't even occur to her. Like, she could have just said, yes, I am she is I, in an article and claimed it, and the Queen would have gone along with it.
Yeah, she would have written something by this point, because Cressida hasn't written anything because she's been afraid to. If Penelope would have written something and outed, like saying, yes, it is I, Cressida, and wrote it, Cressida would have been like, piece of cake, right?
Because kind of like in Casanova, there was a woman who was writing very female, but very Eloise-y kind of things, talking about, females can do this and that, and men, very feminist, and about love and the truth. Yeah, very salacious by those standards, and like the church was not having a bar of it. And when they go find the person, they're like, oh, it's a male. a male's been writing these. Like they found all the articles, but she was just using him as a front
Mm-hmm.
for writing. So like it could have been the same way. Like she could have just used Cressida as a front. She wouldn't even have to have paid Cressida. Cressida just could have gotten the notoriety and the freedom from it. Penelope
Well,
could
that's
have
what I'm saying.
still.
If she would have written it like it was Cressida, Cressida would have jumped on that, like, ooh, I don't even have to write this and I still get credit. Cressida would have jumped on that in a
Exactly.
minute.
So they both could have still gotten what they needed out of it if Penelope were smart about it. But she didn't even consider it for 1 second, which is what kind of surprised me. But anyway, yeah, it was that she was telling Madame D that not only was she going to allow Cressida to take accountability for it, but that she was also not going to be writing anymore. And I feel like of all the people in the ton, Madame Delacroix has truly seen the worst of Cressida and her mother for like no matter how badly we see them treating Penelope. Because Araminta obviously is where the treatment of Penelope came from. I think it's like her sisters. Araminta treated Penelope badly, just like Prudence does, and then Philippa and
Mm-hmm.
Cressida just tacked on from it and learnt from the masters, but it wasn't necessarily them who started it. But I digress. Madame Delacroix has seen the worst of Cressida and Araminta because no matter how badly they've treated Penelope, they would see Madame Delacroix as so far below their own class that I bet that they treat her as
Yes.
a slave rather than a woman who is skilled and powerful
Right.
and has created her own empire. They are not going to see her as a savvy businesswoman with an incredible skill. They see
Well, and
her
remember,
as
they
a
left
servant.
as soon as there was a new modiste in town. They went
Yep.
to the new modiste, and that ended up in Whistledown because
Yes.
that's how Penn showed Genevieve that they could work together.
Yes.
So we know that they didn't think very highly of Genevieve or treat her in any way.
Yeah, and they were insulting Genevieve by saying, you know, the latest fashions, like only those who aren't stylish would continue being dressed at Genevieve's. And can you imagine the conversations with Genevieve? Like, I want the shoulders higher, higher, bigger. I want to be a linebacker. I want to be able to charge these
Well, and speaking of
lords
that,
and
there's a
tackle them
dress
into marriage.
there's a dress, and I look at the dresses that are hanging up around the shop now
Yes.
because
This has
people are saying
the
that the green dress
yes.
was in the shop in season 2, and
Yes.
then Penelope wears it. So this dress that's in the back of their scene has huge shoulders,
Yes,
like it's
it
pink
is.
and
It
purple.
is
I'm like,
Cressida's.
that she must be fashioning Cressida a dress.
But can you imagine how she feels creating some of these? Like, yeah, they can be seen as editorial, but like, can you just imagine her internally cringing? Like, maybe if I just lower the shoulders a little, they won't notice. Maybe if I just take away a little bit of the detail, it won't be so bad. Do I really want them going out in public knowing this is my work and the Kalpas just being like, higher, bigger, more?
Well, and that's the out though that seamstresses had at the time. They had to create what the customer wanted. It wasn't their own design.
Yeah.
So it, unlike now, like you have a designer, you couldn't walk in and say, I like that, but could you
Yeah.
imagine?
Yeah. No.
Like,
It'd be an insult.
seriously.
Well, it's like
Oh, heck yeah, it
in
would.
one thing that's quite different, Australia and New Zealand to Japan. We can go in and say, we don't want this, we don't want that, we're allergic to this. Can you please edit that food?
Yes.
In
I was going
Japan,
to go there too. Substitutions. No substitutions.
no substitutions because the chefs believe that they have created it with the exact flavor profile and like the alchemy of the food science has to be exactly balanced the way that it is. And if you alter it at all, you are altering perfection and it's seen as an insult to the chef that they do not know what they're doing, which I can see that.
Not that
But
you have a
also,
dietary
but
restriction.
I can see that. But also, please don't give me raw onions because, no, my tummy.
Your restaurant's not going to be perfect anymore if you give me something I vomit.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is exactly what Madame Delacroix responds to Penelope, not don't make me vomit in your store.
I was like, what?
I will vomit at the disgustingness of your love. No. That Lady Whistledown is Penelope's life's work and not something commonplace. She is treating it like she's giving up her Thursday night crafting class and not something that she has spent like, I'm not going to say a lifetime, but like years crafting and honing. Like this
Yep.
isn't just some, and not to downplay hobbies either, because I think hobbies are a very important place, especially for women who are mothers. Not that Penelope is yet, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like it is really important for us to have things that are just for ourselves.
She's not changing laundry day from Thursday to Saturday.
It's not
She's
something
giving up
commonplace
something that's part of her personality.
for a man. It's not like
Yeah.
she's doing it because she's going to get ostracized. She's not doing it because the queen's onto her. It's not for
Yep.
fear of, anything. It's for a
It's because
man.
she's getting married. Yeah.
And I think Madame Delacroix has already seen a lot of her friends go through this. Like she watched Sienna with I mean Colin's brother, Anthony. And I think granted she knows that Colin does not have the
But does she know
reputation.
they don't go to the modiste? They go to the tailor.
I think that they hear all the gossip of the town. She hears like it's like a hairdresser. You know everything that's going on. I think that she knows
But
that,
she knew Benedict intimately, and Benedict
and he probably would have said, "My brother
left
is
his
completely
art.
green."
True, if he talked about his brother at all. But I
I
think
think he would
dealing
have.
with him, she went off to improve her art, and he chose to, like, he
Abandon
pursued his
his.
and then gave it up. So
Yes.
I think she probably doesn't have the best vision of the Bridgerton men at this point, and so she's like, why would you give this up for a man? But
Yes.
I think this particular moment was necessary. I think it was necessary for Penelope to have this conversation with somebody who saw Whistledown for what Whistledown was, which is her love of writing. But it also is a play on society, because more often than not, a woman gives up her career. A woman
Yes.
gives up a part of herself when she gets married. Men don't give up,
Well,
mostly don't give up anything.
and it's not just that they're giving up the career, it's that when they are either ready to or forced back into the workforce does not want them, because now they are seen as a burden, because they're going to have to take time off, because they can only work within the school hours of well, in New Zealand, it's 9 to 3, that their children are going to be sick all the time, which means that they are going to be taking sick leave all the time. They are going to need many school holidays off to account for the fact that their children won't be in care. Like, women with children are seen as a burden.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And most women, once they get married, like at the point Penelope's at, they've already made the decision. Like, even if they're making more money, which she's making more money, like if she continued making money, she eventually could have more money than Colin Bridgerton has, right?
Yes.
So, and she's definitely making more money than him. He's not even investing his money at this point. He did one business investment that went south.
Well,
hopefully he didn't sink his money in
on
first.
that note,
But
so
I'm not.
sorry, you just maybe I'm
So
gonna write it down.
you write it down. I think that because I'll lose this, I promise. I think that a lot of women decide before the marriage happens, like, it's expected that the man keep their career. It's expected, I mean, we have movies like Mr. Mom and stuff like that because it's so out of place for the man to give up their stuff for the family, for the marriage, whatever. And a lot of women give it up at marriage. In fact, in the 60s, which my mom went to quote unquote college, which back then she did a secretarial certificate. It was still college, but I don't think it was a degree program. But she quit when she got married. And most women went to college in those years to find husbands. They didn't expect to graduate. It's just, that's what society, a majority of what patriarchy in society is. And I think this was an illustration of that. Like, this is what's expected, but should we always do what's expected? Is that really what's best?
Well, and I think that's why the queen ends up accepting it in the end, because as we see from the first episode of season 4, no spoilers again, but she doesn't want what's expected. She wants to be dazzled. She wants to be surprised. She is bored of what is expected. And that's
a
why.
lot in season 3, so that's no spoiler. Like with Francesca, she wants to see somebody doing something because they love it,
because they're passionate about it, so she can
see their joy.
Yeah, like
she wants to feel and absorb their joy, because she has no joy right now. I don't think she does.
No. And I think that's what we've talked about with this podcast is passion breeds passion. Like, we love doing what we're doing. We love talking about Bridgerton and all things Bridgerton and dissecting it. And through that, we excite other people into sustaining this absolutely crazy train. Choo choo, hop aboard
I
our
mean,
crazy train.
we love the analyzing. I think you and I are very similar. We love the analyzing. We like finding something that makes the story richer. And
Yes.
we do it with much more than Bridgerton. But Bridgerton is there was a niche, I think, that wasn't really out there too much that we filled, which is literally we feel like, and people have told me this, that it's just like sitting in a room with their friends and gossiping. We're not structured, not really. And we're just talking Bridgerton. And I think it works that way with Bridgerton. I don't think if we would have chosen to do a podcast about Harry Potter or Taylor Swift or, Broadway or anything, that it would work the same. This is the thing that we both are passionate about together.
Yeah.
And it works because
and let's be real, we like to talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we still talk about Broadway and Taylor Swift and Harry Potter? Yes, we do. And I threw in Marvel.
And what about Pride and Prejudice? Because I have a thought.
Pride and Prejudice. What's your thought?
We're talking about a self-made woman here. Penelope says that she can pay, was it £10,000?
Mm-hmm.
And that was nearly her entire worth. Not all, nearly her entire worth, right?
She said slightly more. She has slightly.
Yeah, so let's just presume 12,000. She's worth 12,000, right? She's been doing Whistledown for 3 years at this point. Not even 3 years, because she started at the start of, so two and a bit years. So she is earning £5,000 a year.
She's a Bingley.
When was, I didn't know how to spell his name. But I put Beenleigh.
No, Bing, like Chandler Bing.
Okay.
Lee. Bingley.
Mr. Beanley, right here.
He wrote it like Beanley.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a bean, Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. He's a little bit that vibe. He's my favorite. I love him.
He is kind of that vibe, though. That's
would
hilarious.
marry Mr. Beanley over Mr. Darcy any day. Sorry, Mr. Darcy, you are beautiful, but just a little bit too melancholy for me. I like Mr. Beanley's level of awkward cuteness.
I do like Bingley's awkward cuteness, but I love the depth that is Darcy.
I know.
That you just don't see it all on the surface. He's so deliciously awkward.
I like a happy chap.
And I think Darcy is happy. I
don't want to be called handsome either. Not too handsome to tempt me. Bastard.
But anyway, I think we're all familiar with somebody saying something they don't truly mean because they don't want people figuring out what they're really thinking.
Okay, back to my point though, is that I don't know when Pride and Prejudice is set. It's around the same, like maybe 20 years prior. I don't remember.
Most of her stories are written with
early 1900s,
early 1800s vibe.
Sorry, early 1800s. So it is a comparable wealth to Mr. Beanley. Granted, he has assets and land where Penelope does not, but give her 30 years of writing Whistledown. And
give her some sperm and she'll have that soon.
Yes. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is an empire. And like, people were falling over themselves for Mr. Beanley and Mr. Darcy. Probably Mr. Beanley a little bit more, despite the fact of Mr. Darcy being considerably wealthier, because I think Mr. Beanley was a little bit more amiable, is the term they would use. Maybe.
Well, and Mr. Bingley did not have property yet because he let Netherfield.
Well, I presumed that he had property elsewhere, and so he was just renting while he was staying there, was my assumption.
Well, I think he hadn't come into it yet. Does that make sense? Like,
okay, Lord, yeah.
He wasn't able to take over the estate yet because his
dad
father
was alive.
still
was
alive. So he would let a house, he would rent places because he was trying to find a wife.
Yes.
And sometimes not everybody comes to London. So I think he probably was on the marriage mart in London for a few years, wasn't seeing anything that tickled his fancy. So he decided to, let a house in this area, try to find a wife in the countryside and see what happens there.
Yes. But yeah, it was just quite the realization for me of just how marriageable Mr. Beanley was, and then to realize that, hey, Penelope is actually on that level of wealth in her own right. Like, this is not some trivial numbers. This is not pen money, as the pun would go. Yeah. So anyway, back to my point, but it was just something I wanted to bring up because I was like, hey, actually, that's incredible. But Penelope explains that Colin is not just a man to marry, but a love match, and she does not want to jeopardize that. And I think it's very much understood at this point that she is saying Colin will not accept Whistledown. Like, this is my chance at happiness, not just survival, not just, And Penelope cuts the conversation off.
Well, and again, she gets that information from Eloise, because Eloise says that if he finds out she's Whistledown, it will destroy him.
Penelope cuts the conversation off by kind of reminding Madame Delacroix of her place by saying that her mum has sent her for fabric samples for her dress. And though Penelope says it gently, the meaning was very much understood. I am done talking about this, and I want to go back to I'm your customer, you are my seamstress. Like it wasn't said in that way, but it was, I'm cutting it off. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, we're done with this conversation. Can we please just focus?
Subject, yeah.
Can we just focus on what I came here for? I cannot deal with another opinion, because I think she's had the opinions from her mum and her sister. I've made the choice. Don't try to change my mind. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't think it was that she didn't want another opinion, is that she didn't want somebody to tell her what she wanted,
knew.
Because she did want to keep Lady Whistledown.
Yes.
And she was afraid that Genevieve would be the one person who'd be able to talk her into maintaining it.
Yes, as is someone who is also a self-made woman, I think she very much knows that Genevieve would persuade her otherwise. But Madame Delacroix is not a pushover. And I do love that so many other women of the ton, she would never have the goal to speak back to a client. But I think she understands that even though Penelope is trying to shut it down, that she is a friend and she is going to give a friend's advice here, and explains that the passion that sustains her life, not just the act of creating a dress, but instead creating a feeling in her clients when they see themselves a certain way in her creations. Like, she helps them to see the beauty that was always there. It's not just a dress, and the article is not just gossip. It is a passion that not only sustains herself, but also the others who feed joy from those moments as well. And she cannot ever imagine giving that up. And maybe this is why Benedict liked Madame Delacroix, because she's got the art of tactfully talking about something beautiful, impactful, metaphorical riddles, just like his mother. Like,
right, that's what I'm gonna tell you here.
I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, but I'm going to pretend like I'm just talking about dresses.
Myself. I'm just talking about myself. I'm talking about my passion for my art.
Did it relate to you? I'm so sorry that you felt that way. I was just talking about I'm so good at making dresses, and I just wanted to brag about myself for a minute. Girly, it's not all about you.
That remark? Did you resemble that remark a little bit? Oh, sorry. It made you feel a certain kind of way.
The way that she worded it was perfection. She knows she's being sly. I wish she dropped the French accent with Penelope when they're alone, not now, but like in the Moody's scene when the night before the wedding. I do wish she dropped the accent, and that was that. Did she?
She was straight up like a Cockney British.
Oh, good
English accent.
Because then it kind of really feels like a friendship and not just a partnership.
Yeah, because she goes, Colin found out, and she's like, well, that's not good.
That's
like, totally not French.
Totally not.
Not a French accent at all.
But I do, and I also love what she said about dresses, because I do think it is true that sometimes you, as we're talking about fake it till you make it, like, you know how sometimes you can be having a really down day, and then you just put on an outfit that makes you see the beauty within, and it gives you the confidence to be who you are,
or it cheers you up.
It cheers you up.
There's a whole song in Hello Dolly, put on your Sunday clothes.
Yeah.
Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out.
Like, and there's people that
and have your picture.
Like,
sorry.
And clothing does have such an impact, because like we have, for the businesswoman, you've got these powerful business suits. You want to go out to the beach, we've got beautiful sundresses. You want to go to a funeral, you can put on your mourning clothes. Like, clothing can very much dictate the mood and the feel of how you are portraying yourself and how you're perceived by others. So I do like how Genevieve is saying that, like, her clothing is not just clothing, but like helping craft these moments for these women.
Yeah. And she specifically talks about making a wedding dress because that is like such an important day for a debutante, for a young woman, that it
Going
makes
from one
them
person
feel a
to
certain,
another.
yeah, it
It's
makes
like
them feel a
it's a
certain kind of
transition
way.
outfit for them.
Yes. Because for a woman it is a change. For a man back then it really wasn't. They
No,
just
we're
took
supposed
on
to stop
another
sleep.
mouth to
They were
feed
just
almost.
supposed to stop sleeping with everyone else. Supposed to, shall I
Just
say?
until they created an heir. They didn't even have to stop after that.
Yeah.
But women, they went from being a girl to a woman. That was more their rite of passage than when they started their courses,
But I
really.
think that this is so impactful because Penelope doesn't have anyone else who knows about the Lady Whistledown article apart from Genevieve and Eloise. And Eloise has just been sitting there shitting on it this entire time, saying it's just gossip. Why can you not give this up for my brother, the man of your dreams? And she was very manipulative. And then you've got Madame Delacroix being like, this is not gossip. This is an empire. This is your truth. This is the truth of the Ton. This is the underbelly that no one wants to talk about. You actually say it how it is. And she's essentially, it's not just gossip. It's basically reporting.
Yeah, she's a reporter. It's journalism.
It is. And like, is it the highest form of writing? Not necessarily, but I think she does do it in a very, not structured way, like the way that she writes.
Stylized.
So very stylized. Like it, I was reading something the other day, and she was saying about how bad, like the likes of like ACOTAR and a lot of the fantasy romantasy books are because they have no literary devices, as if like that is the only way for something to be good. And it's like, actually, if I enjoy it, if I get joy out of it, it's good. It doesn't need to be a literary masterpiece. But I actually think that for what Penelope is writing, gossip columns, she makes those gossip columns a literary masterpiece using alliteration and metaphors and similes, and she uses a lot of writing devices
Foreshadowing. Yeah.
just despite the fact that it's just gossip.
And I think, though, much like we see Colin saying, the reason I couldn't reconcile you is because I was jealous. The reason that Eloise put it down is because she's jealous. She had to minimize it because it wasn't her idea and she didn't think of it first.
Yeah. Do we want to? Do we want to? We are going to. We are going to. I'd like to finish up this scene by discussing the mirror scene of Penelope looking in the three mirrors, the three versions of herself. I was leaving that one for you to take away.
Well, it wasn't my idea. I saw it somewhere on the internet, but they said that in this moment, this is one of the only times we see Penelope in the three mirrors. And it's obvious that, the one on the left is her, she has her past self, her present self, and her future self. And they all may look kind of the same, but they all have a different perspective depending on where she looks. And you can even see, like, when Madame Delacroix comes over and brings the piece of fabric and she lays it over her, she goes, "We're going to make you a very beautiful dress." Penelope does that same thing she does when she's getting ready to get ready for the Queen's Ball and get engaged to Debling. She steals herself and she does that breath that she's like, "Fake it till I make it," because it's not that she's not sure of whether she wants to marry Colin. She wants to marry Colin. She loves it. Does she want what she thinks comes with that marriage? Because she's not willing to open up to Colin to see if he's willing to truly let her be her full self, right? She thinks she's having to shrink herself to be married, and it taint that institution for her. Mm-hmm. So she's looking at who she was, who she is, and you don't fully see the one image of her in the one because she's not fully formed yet, her future self,
who she wants to be.
Yeah, and I really felt like I wish I could remember where I got that. TikTok, Reddit, whomever, I don't remember, but it definitely was not my idea. Definitely saw it on the internet, but it was a great metaphor, like a way of describing the scene and how it was filmed to give us that idea. Because honestly, she could have just walked over with Madame Delacroix to the samples, to the pieces of fabric, but instead she walked over to and stood there looking at herself, gazing at herself, and meditating over herself while Madame Delacroix was talking.
See, and I mean, this might be a much more simple take than what that person had kind of theorized. Well, not theorized, you know what I mean? Their interpretation of it. But my interpretation of it is a little bit more simple, and it's just that she's looking at the three versions of herself, which is Penelope Featherington, Penelope Bridgerton, in the wedding dress
And
in
Lady
the middle,
Whistledown.
and then Lady Whistledown on the other side, and thinking, can these three women, like there's three mirrors, but can they merge into one? Can they all exist at the same time? Because I do not know how to make that work. And I'm going to have to close off one mirror. I'm going to have to close off one whole part of myself in order for the others to survive. And I don't even think that she thinks that Penelope Featherington can survive, because as Penelope Featherington, she's a little bit more Barbie. She's a little bit more anxious. She's a little bit more closed off. She secludes into herself. Whereas Colin, she suffers when she secludes into herself. Because then he is an overthinker and he's like, what have I done? Is she okay? How can I help? I need to give her time, but that's like, it's painful for him. And as someone who feels so anxious when there is conflict and need to resolve it instantly, I understand that pain, Colin. So I think that Penelope is even looking at saying goodbye to Penelope Featherington, the girl, the debutante, the wallflower, everything that she has been her entire life, and she's going to be thrust into this new life. And it is scary because she has always been hidden from society, invisible. Yep. But being a Bridgerton, that will be no longer. Like, even if she didn't come out as Lady Whistledown, she was never going to be as invisible as she was as just Penelope Featherington. She was always going to be more in the eyes of the ton and have the expectations now of a Bridgerton, and not. And Eloise is already putting these pressures on her. She's already saying, you're going to be a Bridgerton. You have to hold up the Bridgerton name. Anything that you do badly looks badly upon us all now. And she's putting on that pressure. So I do think that she's looking at these
and
three versions.
The Bridgertons don't shy away in their room when there's conflict and when things happen. They promenade.
Yeah. They deal with it very differently. So I do think that it was very much a moment of giving up three versions of herself for the one. And that's what she's looking at. Can I just be? Will I be content to just be Penelope Bridgerton? I mean, probably a much more simple take.
Madame Delacroix made a good point. Is there a way to integrate?
Yes.
And be all of them?
Yes. Yeah. I think that is where we will leave it. So for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have anything in particular you would like to cover, or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you are listening.
And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women.
Yours truly, Blue's getting it right, Tash the Kiwi,
and Lady Patty.
We did it successfully.
We did it. We did it. Yay!
We are terrible at getting our intros right, so it's always like a surprise. Intros to the outro.
Intro's fine. Outro is hard. Outro's hard. We brain too long.